Well, that's why I'm glad you guys are both very outspoken about it. Like, you're not ashamed of saying, "Oh, okay, I've tried this. I've done this. This is my experience with it." I think that's important. I think when they start sharing their stories, that's when you move the pendulum because people can put a face towards, psilocybin or ayahuasca, and it's not, "Oh, I'm gonna go be homeless and live in the gutter and never
Yeah.
achieve anything in my life." Which is what we need. We
Absolutely.
need to break that stigma.
And that's the whole thing with decriminalized nature is like getting people talking and like really getting the information out there and sharing stories. And really story sharing is going to be a huge part of destigmatizing this. Um, like I could imagine I also think I'm pro gun. I have several. And I used to shoot at the shooting range. And I could just imagine the guys I used to shoot with seeing me in what I'm doing right now, like in this movement. Like, Danielle, really? She does these substances? She seemed like she wouldn't be that type of person, because I'm there like in my jeans and with my guns and doing that thing. But it's like I think that's important, like what I'm doing and just being out there and just showing the people in my life who would have never thought. But then it's like, but she's such a cool person. Oh, maybe people who take these aren't crazy people like how I thought they were, or bad people like I thought they were. So,
That's the root. That's what we need to address.
mm-hmm,
Is that connection of, it's one-sided. You do this, this is where you're going to be in life. But
mm-hmm.
that's rarely ever the case with
Well, it's like,
anything.
look at how we based our theory of success. You're successful if you're rich and you make money. It's like, that's a problem right there. So the people who are rich and successful, they're probably not the ones that are, technically taking psychoactive substances. And it's like, that shouldn't be how it should be thought about. You could still be successful and not live the normal life that you're supposed to live. Doesn't, success is engaged on just money and what job or, like, I don't know, what you do. And I think that's a big thing is people just kind of gauge success in the wrong manner. I think people can be successful and be taking psychoactive substances daily. Like you said, you met people that are successful at life and or not met them, but you heard about people who take heroin and that's their, addiction or their dose and they're still successful human beings.
And if you could do that, why not? Like, if you enjoy using whatever substance you want to use, whether it's alcohol
To
or
each their
heroin,
own.
yeah, why should you not be able to do that and pursue your definition of what happiness is?
Yeah.
Like, why does it have to be placed into this box? And I think that's because I know a lot of people in my life that are like, drugs, they still follow that line of drugs are bad. And then they'll go kill a six pack on the weekend
Yeah.
or go do whatever. And I'm always struggling with trying to figure out how to help them create that kind of line of, you drinking this six pack really isn't that different from somebody else smoking a joint.
I think just having more conversations like this.
Yeah, it's important.
Really, I mean, just like the more conversations that are like this, the more people who are gonna wake up and be like, oh yeah, actually, why does that matter? It doesn't. And like my personal thought about why so many people are so concerned with what other people are doing, what they're putting in their bodies and labeling them, I think it's just the larger thing of what's going on of people wanting to avoid themselves. So if you're looking at someone else and judging them and judging what they're doing with their lives, what they're putting in their bodies, that's really distracting you from looking at yourself and being like, hey, there's these things that I need to be working on, or where is this unhappiness coming from, or oh, my marriage is falling apart. So instead of like looking at these big things happening in your life, oh, look at that person doing heroin, that's a bad person. Oh yeah, they died, good. Just like that judgment. And it really has to do, like, I don't know, what I said earlier is like healing yourself. And that's going to like really heal the world. But and just like breaking out of those just cycles of being so concerned about what other people are doing. Unless they're hurting someone else, it really is none of your
It
business.
shouldn't matter,
Yeah,
right? I mean, what you do on your own time in your house should be up to you as an
Well,
adult. Like, that's the
especially
crazy thing.
these substances are gonna make people better people. Like,
exactly.
this is what helps you become your best self.
Exactly.
So I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even with cannabis, I mean, I know here in California it's legal, but why is it not federally legal still? We've got, I don't know how many states, a ton, where it's legal in those states, but we're still just pretending that, oh, this is a bad plant.
Well, and I like cannabis too in a sense because, the stigma, it has that huge stigma. Oh, you're a stoner. I really loved that going to college and being like, yeah, I smoke a lot of weed. I study chemistry too. Like, who cares? And so it definitely had that stigma, and it's starting to, now that cannabis is more accepted, especially here in California, more people are willing to try it. Like, I know my mom, like, it took me so long to get my mom to try any of my cannabis products. And I would just be like, same thing. Mom, just microdose. Come on. Just try it. Now she's all about it. Now she's like now she asks me for cannabis products all the time. Like, hey, I have arthritis in my wrist. Like, is there any cream you can make me or buy from your friends up there? And I'm like, I got you, Mom. So now she's like willing to take tinctures to go to bed instead of her sleeping pills. So I think with this too, it's like, I think that's going to happen too. And now I'm like, Mom, try these microdose capsules.
That's
And she's
awesome.
like willing to try now. But like before, she would never even think about doing any kind of marijuana or psychoactive plants or fungi. And like, I think the stigma is definitely being demolished, and it's helping, all this talk like we're doing now is helping her even be like, oh, okay, if everyone's doing it, why don't I try it? Instead of being like, oh, mijo, I don't want to do anything.
I know people that still won't even try CBD because they're like, no, that's marijuana,
That's
and I'm like,
drugs.
it's not. Like, you're gonna be, there's no THC in it. You're gonna be fine. And they're like, no, it's marijuana. I can't. That's illegal. And I'm like, well, even in California, it's legal. But I mean,
Yeah.
just try. They won't even give it a chance. And I'm like, you could just try some CBD.
It might alleviate some of your
It
pain.
might help, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But you're no worse off than where you are now.
Yeah.
That's the important thing. I think people just try it.
That was
Just
the
see
hard
how
thing
it.
for me is I'm like,
Yeah.
Mom, you're addicted to a sleeping pill, yet you won't
How many
try
people are
any of
addicted to
this.
melatonin that are just popping that all the time?
Yet you won't try like a natural plant remedy that might actually put you to sleep better, like without the side effects of waking up all groggy and pissed off.
It's crazy. And I would imagine, I bet it would be so funny to see your gun friends talk about it, because guns and drugs are like the polar opposite
They're like, we lost
spectrums.
Danielle.
Yeah.
And
I
she's
mean,
gone.
I think that's great though, because if any two need to be, kind of relaxed, it's those two, because you can be a responsible gun owner
Absolutely.
and smoke a joint.
Absolutely. It's been so interesting because I've been in many, many, many plant medicine circles. And every time I brought it up, I'll always like bring up like, hey, I have guns. But they're shocked. They're like, you have guns? Why would you have guns? And it's like, guns aren't a bad thing. I mean, they can be used for terrible things, yes, but I mean, so can knives, cars. Like, it just depends on the person behind that. But yeah, like bridging that and like balancing that, like, being a responsible gun owner. Like, I like to shoot targets. It's fun. It's a lot of fun shooting targets. I would never shoot an animal, but I mean, that's just me. And I'm also, yeah, don't eat animals. So,
But that's awesome. I mean, just like how we need to normalize guns in a weird way, because some people get so uptight about, you bring up guns and like nobody should have guns, and we're like, what? Nobody?
yeah.
Really? That's the stance we're gonna take?
I think we need to heal because those that are using guns to harm others, like, they need to heal.
Yeah.
Like, that's
But
what's going
if
on.
they didn't have the gun, they would find something else.
Oh,
That's the thing they
exactly.
don't want to
Like building a
acknowledge.
bomb.
Which people have done.
Yes.
I mean, it would not be a stretch for that to be the
It's
new.
not hard.
Yeah. But nobody wants to address that. They see guns just as how they see drugs and think of, oh, bad people. They see guns and think of, oh, bad people. Only
Mhm.
bad people want guns. Only bad people do drugs. But that's just that's an answer that lacks so much nuance that it's kind of laughable when you hear it. You're like, what are we doing, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna just paint people into these boxes
Just like
and say,
stoking the division, and that's like more than anything right now, we need to heal that division. And even some like movements that are like coming up is still feeding that energy of dividing people and judging people and separating people. And even the thing with COVID, what's going on with the vaccine, families are getting separated. Like, oh, you're not going to vaccinate, well then you can't come over to my house anymore. Like, there's just so much division on so many different levels that are happening right now, and like, we really need to heal that in order to get out from where we are right now. Because
yeah, I don't think we've been this divided I mean, easily in my lifetime. But I can't think of another time when we've been so at each other's throats on
Mm-hmm.
every issue.
And we're lucky to live where we live, because
Yeah, because it's pretty mellow up here. I mean, you get into the vaccine and people start getting a little on edge, or you bring up Trump and people are like, okay, where are we going with that? But I mean, if you go
big city
and
Portland.
oh god, Portland, I mean, no thanks. I would not want to be there right now. People are losing it, and it's because there's that lack of compassion.
Mm-hmm.
There's that lack of nuance. Nobody wants to look at the other person and try to understand where they're coming from.
Which entheogens help with that. They allow you to have more compassion and understanding for others. And yeah, entheogens are the answer.
The ego death.